Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Caitlin Clark basically admitted it. Sometimes you've got to say, damn it, I'm going rogue. And when Caitlin went rogue against the Chicago Sky, the result was an absolute damn takeover. She recognized the moment, ignored the noise, and attacked the game her way. Honestly, I think she needs that mentality every damn game. The Caitlin Clark takeover isn't slowing down either. Her showdown against the Chicago Sky reportedly exploded past 3.3 million views, making it the most-watched regular-season WNBA game since the league began in 1997. That's freaking massive. Whether the haters like it or not, Caitlin Clark is driving unbelievable attention, and when she goes rogue, the entire damn league takes notice. Let's talk about the absolutely insane numbers coming out of the Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky matchup, because this is getting harder and harder to ignore. According to Front Office Sports, the Fever Sky game drew 3.31 million viewers across NBC and Peacock. Let that sink in for a second. 3.31 million people watched a regular season WNBA game. That makes it the most-watched regular-season WNBA game since the league's inaugural 1997 season, and the third most-watched regular-season game ever. That is not some tiny little ratings bump. That is freaking historic. And yes, everybody deserves credit for putting on the show, but if you're talking about the player who has consistently become the center of this massive attention, you have to talk about Caitlin Clark. The Fever defeated the Sky 113-90 at Wintrust Arena in Chicago, and Clark absolutely went nuclear. She finished with 37 points on 13 of 24 shooting, added 10 assists and 3 rebounds, and drilled a career-high 8 three-pointers in just 32 minutes. That is ridiculous. And Kelsey Mitchell wasn't exactly sitting around watching the fireworks. She dropped 30 points herself, giving Indiana a devastating backcourt combination that Chicago simply couldn't contain. But here's where things get really interesting. Caitlin Clark didn't just have a great statistical night, she apparently knew before the game that something special was coming. According to the report from Athlon Sports, Clark revealed the conversation she had with Fever head coach Stephanie White before the game. Clark basically told her coach that it was going to be one of those nights. And damn, she wasn't kidding. Clark explained that she had gotten some good sleep, woke up, watched film, went through the scouting report, and came into the game ready to play. Sometimes you can tell when a superstar has that look in her eyes, and on this night, Clark clearly had it. She didn't hesitate, she didn't disappear into the background, she didn't spend the entire night looking for somebody else to take over. She freaking attacked. 24 shot attempts. That is exactly the kind of aggression I want to see from Caitlin Clark. Now, before anybody starts screaming that one game doesn't prove everything, obviously it doesn't. But when you combine the performance with the ratings, the attention, the historical numbers, and the overall impact, it becomes pretty damn difficult to pretend that Clark isn't one of the biggest engines driving interest in the league. And this is where the conversation gets uncomfortable for some people. You don't have to hate anybody else to acknowledge Caitlin Clark's impact. You don't have to disrespect Kelsey Mitchell. You don't have to disrespect Aaliyah Boston. You don't have to disrespect Stephanie White. You don't have to disrespect the rest of the WNBA. You can simply look at what is happening and say Caitlin Clark is a massive damn draw. 3.31 million viewers don't magically appear out of nowhere. People wanted to watch this game. People wanted to see Clark. People wanted to see what she would do. And on this night, she gave them one hell of a show. The crazy part is that Clark's performance wasn't just about scoring. She became the complete offensive engine. 37 points, 10 assists, 8 threes, 24 shots. That is a superstar workload. And that's why the go rogue mentality is so damn fascinating. Clark needs freedom. She needs opportunities. She needs the ball in her hands. And when she's cooking like this, I don't want to see her constantly looking around for permission to attack. If Caitlin Clark has 20-plus shot attempts in a game and the offense is working, I'm perfectly fine with that. Hell, I'd love to see her reach 20 attempts more consistently, because when she gets aggressive, everything changes. Defenders have to chase her around screens, they have to respect her ridiculous shooting range, they have to worry about her passing, they have to decide whether to switch, fight over the screen, trap her, or stay home on shooters. And that brings us directly to MAKAYLA Timpson. The Caitlin Clark-MAKAYLA Timpson pick and roll has become one of the most intriguing developments for Indiana. Timpson can set screens, roll toward the basket, and give Clark another legitimate option to attack with. That matters because Clark is at her most dangerous when she can manipulate defenders. If the defender goes under, Clark can shoot. If the defender fights over, she can turn the corner. If another defender helps, she can find the open teammate. If the lane opens, she can attack the basket. That's what makes the pick and roll so dangerous. And honestly, at this point, I understand why people are getting excited about the Clark-Timpson combination. I'm not saying Aaliyah Boston isn't talented, she absolutely is, but the chemistry and style of the Clark-Timpson pick and roll deserves serious attention. Timpson's screening can create the space Clark needs to get downhill or pull up from deep, and if that combination continues developing, opponents are going to have a major headache on their hands. Now, let's get back to the bigger picture. Caitlin Clark just recorded her 5th career game with at least 30 points and 10 assists, and according to the report, she now has more such games than the rest of the WNBA combined. That's an insane statistic. Think about the level of play required to consistently produce 30 points and 10 assists in professional basketball. You're talking about scoring efficiency, playmaking, decision-making, and a ridiculous amount of responsibility. And Clark did it while hitting 8 three-pointers. That's not normal. That's superstar-level production. So when somebody says, it's not about Caitlin Clark, I think the fair response is, look at the damn numbers. Look at the audience. Look at the attention. Look at the merchandise. Look at the social media engagement. Look at the packed arenas. Look at the television numbers. You don't have to like Caitlin Clark to recognize what she's doing, and you certainly don't have to tear down other WNBA players to celebrate her. But the league should absolutely recognize the business value of having a player who can generate this level of attention. The worst thing anyone could do is become so consumed by the rivalry, arguments, and online bullshit that they forget the bigger opportunities sitting directly in front of them. Caitlin Clark is bringing eyes to the WNBA. Kelsey Mitchell is producing huge performances. Aaliyah Boston remains an important part of Indiana's core. Stephanie White is trying to build the right system. MAKAYLA Timpson is emerging as an intriguing piece, and the Chicago Sky provided the opponent for a game that turned into a historic ratings event. That's the story. But Caitlin Clark went rogue, and the damn result was spectacular. She told Stephanie White before the game that it was going to be one of those nights, and then she went out there and proved it. 37 points, 10 assists, 8 threes, 24 shots, 3.31 million viewers, historic WNBA television numbers. Whether people love Caitlin Clark, hate Caitlin Clark, or simply want to see what all the hype is about, they're watching. And that's the part nobody can bullshit their way around. The Caitlin Clark takeover isn't just about one explosive performance, it's about the attention that follows her everywhere. And if Indiana continues giving her freedom to attack while developing that Clark-Timpson connection, opposing defenses could be in for a long damn season. Because when Caitlin Clark decides to go rogue, everybody better get the hell out of the way.
So I'll just start off with an unserious question. The cape, who started the trend with this team? Was it you or Maya?
I think it was Maisha. We honestly don't know. She was asking me about it just then, but I think I saw her do it, so I wanted to be like her in practice.
So she was the inspiration behind your fashion choice?
For sure, yeah.
We asked you about it a lot as it was happening. Now you have 5 or 6 games as a starter with this team. What feels different, if anything, about what you're supposed to do with that group? And how comfortable are you with it now compared to even a week ago?
I'm really comfortable with playing with our starting group. They give me a lot of confidence. I'm able to do what I can do out on the court for them. Just be myself, nothing more and nothing less than who I am. But yeah, I'm pretty confident in starting now.
What to you is the biggest change from what you were doing before versus this group, if anything?
I wouldn't say it really wasn't a change. Just locking in more, being more disciplined with what I do, and just coming out and having even more energy. You know, I had energy just coming off the bench, but now it's like I have to start, and you know, the energy just got to come out of nowhere, like from the beginning. So just energy, you know, a different level of focus, a different level of attacks on defense and offense. So a lot of aggressiveness in everything that I do.
Hard to avoid looking at the standings this late in the season, especially when it's as close as it is in these playoff games. Does that give you like a rising sense of importance about these games? How does it make you approach what you guys have?
Just locking in more. You know, just we want to finish the season pretty strong. You know, we're trying to get that top 4 seed in for the playoffs. You know, just finish strong. You know, being disciplined in what we're going to do. Always working on ourselves and keep rising to the level of occasion that we need to go to be in the playoffs.
Obviously, you want to finish strong, but you got this big layoff coming up. I know in some ways it's good. In other ways, how much of a concern is it that you could lose the momentum?
Yeah. You know, just staying disciplined to who we are. I know all the time we be like, you know, we're a pro, so act like a pro. So, you know, don't, you know, just sit around at the house. You know, still, you know, take a little bit of rest, but also be disciplined and be pros. So at the end of the day, we know how pros need to operate in this W.
What kind of workout? Aisha was saying that everyone's going to have their own individual plan.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff? You know, how do you guys do it?
I'm not really sure yet until the break, but all of us, we have our own individual workout plans, you know, for conditioning, strengthening, anything of that nature. And basketball stuff, still continue to be who we are on the court, you know, making sure we remember the plays. You know, that can be an issue sometimes, but, you know, coming back from break, but being also, you know, just keeping what we had, you know. Whenever we have this game Friday, you know, that momentum, just pushing it into the break, and once we get back from break, let's keep going.
Guys, we need to talk about this because I'm 100% buying into the Caitlin Clark and MAKAYLA Timpson duo. If Aaliyah Boston hadn't been forced into playing point guard against the damn Liberty, maybe Indiana would have had that top 4 seed. That mistake hurt, plain and simple. But now I'm rolling with MAKAYLA Timpson as Caitlin Clark's new pick-and-roll partner. Count me the hell in. Timpson understands her damn role. She doesn't need to be a hub, a point forward, or pretend to be something she isn't. She sets the screen, rolls hard, creates space, and lets Caitlin Clark operate. And when Caitlin went rogue against the Chicago Sky, she delivered freaking record-breaking numbers. 37 points, 10 assists, 8 threes, and 24 shots. That's the Caitlin Clark I want every damn night. So what do you think? Is MAKAYLA Timpson the perfect partner for Caitlin Clark? Drop your opinion in the comments, like, subscribe, and share.